Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 483. Let's jump on in. And all right, it's all Galio, sure. It is kind of interesting seeing Galio turn up in Mentors. I knew this was the case, but uh, as we'd seen the Mentors pool in the past, they actually jammed Fiora into it, which was kind of odd, right? As we've gone through some of these archetypes, and so say with like Scion Rumble, they released it without the rumble attached to it, and they did it with someone else here recently. It's kind of slipping my mind, but the Mentor's Galio was Fiora Poppy, and now it's got the Galio attached to it, and it just makes much more sense, right? This archetype is it was really odd in terms of the common selection in it. I think there were only three commons, and it was single combat, double bird, and the 1/4 elite for 2 mana. And so it does make more sense that this was going to be the endure archetype. You can come out and play your zero cost units like Galio, or your zero cost, your zero attack units like Galio, then boost them all with Poppy whenever she attacks. You have a neat little combo like that. But nonetheless, yeah, let's jump in. We'll draft around this Galio, see what we can piece off with this and how formidable things come together. Formidable, not endure. What's endure? Jeez. Anyways, okay, so we just get all the new champions in this one, right? It's pretty reasonable to come in here and take the Gnar as well. As much as I love Riven and the existence of these archetypes with her, I don't think we're going to have too much success with the weapons. I guess I could see it to a degree. Maybe I should slow down a second and think that that would be okay. I immediately just thought of like the +2 attack reforge, and I was like, yeah, that's stupid. You know, if we're playing formidable and only care about health, then that's not going to do anything. But the quick attack one could be useful. There are a lot of challengers that will be trying to pursue, mainly the 0/3 for 2 mana, where that would be good. If you flip it over to the Riven Sword again, that's kind of bad on that end, though. I'm not amped. I'm not really convincing myself that this is going to be a fantastic route to chase. And Karma, we're just not going to be that amped about. You could definitely take Karma up to Galio and try to make some real monster units as we get up to 10 mana. I just don't think that's really going to be a thing. Although the Emerald Awakener could be kind of interesting in terms of there being a lot of health boosting cards out of Galio, so we could get a lot of good board stall out of this thing. It's like I swing back towards this Gnar. Like my main concern here is this is going to make all those Poppy cards show up, right? If we take the Bandle City champion, the Galio pairing into Bandle City is going to start to show up. I don't think I really want to deal with that. So let's actually come out here and take this Riven. I do concede that, the +2 fragment isn't going to be at its best. The Riven sword isn't going to be at its best, right? If we give Galio +2 attack, the +2 attack doesn't do anything. But I think that these fragments are strong enough that we'll just, work with that and deal with it, and everything will be okay. I'm still happy enough with the strength of things like Arrow. And so, coming out of this Riven archetype, of course, the big thing here is generating the blade fragments. We'll be using this as kind of a secondary strategy. The big thing to just note with these is it works exceptionally well with challengers. And so there aren't any challengers in the Riven archetype outside of this Brutal Hunter, but if you can find the 5/1 for 2 mana, that's the big one to be looking for. But yeah, here's a good start. The Doran Architect, he's not like ultra strong, but the health boosting come out of these is extremely good, and we do want to really be stacking up on the toughness boosting here today. All right, into the next one. Sure, let's take a Yordles in arms. No, we're not going to be doing that. The kind of problem with these are, we don't want to be in three factions. If we wanted to jump into Bandle City, we would have just taken the Gnar, so we have to stay away from those. Reborn Grenadier is just not going to do anything whatsoever in our deck, so that brings us back to the Trifarian and the Thorn of the Rose. Okay, yeah, you see, there's the Silverwing Vanguard single combat coming out of Mentors. This was such a weird archetype before the Galio cards were added to it. But here I want to go with the Trifarian Glory Seeker. This will be our premier unit to deal with the challenges. If we can pick up some Reforges, and then it should be like okay, right? If we, boost her with the Doran Architect, then she can have an extra bit of health, and so not. A sweet combo giving her Formidable, right? When you strike with your health instead of your power, but you can like craft some of these situations to where this can survive a challenge. Okay, and so our last one before we get out of the additional factions, definitely not picking up Shadow Isles out of this one. And so here, I believe I just want the Fleet Feather Tracker and the Egghead. The Legion Drummer is pretty choice, like giving the quick attack challenges, but I think these early plays are going to be a little bit more important here. I don't want to be stacking too heavily into Noxus. I really want to be very Demacia heavy today. All right, we can continue on with the Durant Protege. Very good. Ranger's Resolve, excellent as well. All of these play fantastically with our challengers. If you can give a Glory Seeker or a Bird tough, then you can pick on all of your opponent's 1 health units. Kind of a nice little thing to be pulling off. Okay, fairly weak set out of these. I do always like these Fallen Reckoners. That can't block ability is extremely good, but I don't think we're going to be aggressive enough for this to matter. I mean, we should just be ending the games with Galio and not be trying to play this style of game to where we're loading the boards with Overwhelm and shutting down our opponent's blocks. And so I'm going to go with the second Egghead Researcher here. This will help us with our top end, keep us from having to draft too much expensive stuff outside of Galio, right? If we're going to come out here and draft like 3 copies of Galio, we don't want to be jamming a bunch of expensive cards into our deck. Okay, so down here we got a Reforge and the Blade Squire. That looks pretty good to me. Sharpened Resolve isn't fantastic, but it's good enough. Coming out of this one, we have to make the decision between Runeweaver and Laurent Protege, and I'm going to go with the Protege out of this. I do want the Reforges, but we don't need to stack them like super, super hard, and then Brothers Bond isn't going to be fantastic in this deck. Okay, interesting set. I think we want to go with the House Spider Whirling Death out of this. Just pick up a, all-around good early game play, and the House Spider along with the removal spell and Whirling Death. Okay, looking good. Coming out of here, what can we do with Confront? Like, I'm reasonably happy to pick up Prismatic Barriers here, but as we look at this set, I don't want Battlefield Prowess, I don't want Wrathful Rider. We already have 2 Whirling Deaths. It's not upsetting to go up to 3, but it's not great. Maybe we just go with the Wrathful Rider here. Again, we can maybe give it some bonus toughness so it's just not so brittle. All right, going with the Durant Protege here. I don't want the Cavalier, but just the on-themeness of the Protege is exactly what we're looking for. And there is Atakan. We don't need him, right? We're going to have 3 Galios. He can party somewhere else. I'm just looking towards the Radiant and the Vanguard Redeemer out of this. Okay. Oh, man, are we going to have to deal with this the whole way? If you're not familiar with what's happening here, there's been a bug with like Scion and some of the other champions to where the game can't really figure out what you're trying to draft, and it gets you to try and trade away your champions multiple times. Hopefully we can like win a game and pick a Galio and it'll quit trying to get him to trade us away, but I have a little bit of worries seeing that. But coming out of here, we'll get rid of the Cavalier. It's not particularly good in our deck. The Grizzled Ranger is just a good card. Not too many complaints with him. So, you all do know what time it is. We have to go turn a little something premium, and we should be able to hit like one of these Endures in here pretty easy. Oh no, the Petricite Hound is the only one. Did we mess this up? Oh no. Oh man, we're gonna have to go up. We're gonna have to go up to the rares, aren't we? Oh my goodness, life has never been so challenging. What can we get out of here? Petricite Broadwing is the card I was hoping to find a lot of copies of. We just didn't see any. Not super strange in that it's a rare, but that's who we were hoping to pick up. But we got our boy Durand Architect in our deck today. He's ready to get some formidable attacks going. Ready to be premium while he does it. Looking pretty good. Pretty good. All right, so off to battle. So yeah, it didn't come together exactly how I was wanting and hoping it to. I kind of had this idea in our head that whenever we play these Riven decks, the quick attack challenges are the big kind of build around factor, get you a lot of board control, and takes over quite a few games. But if we're not going to chase after the reforges, but want still, have all these toughness boosting cards, then we can still control the board that way. If you haven't played against these decks in PvP, a lot of the things that you will see is like putting down the Petricite Broadwing and then just stacking health onto it over and over again, and then you're able to use that giant Broadwing to just kill your opponent's best unit every turn. And I kind of envisioned something like that happening to where even if we didn't have the Broadwings, we could still play our toughness boosting cards on our challengers, but then we also didn't find any of the toughness boosting cards. So a little awkward, but I think we'll be okay. Strong enough start here. We won't have a play until turn 3, but having a Riven or a Protege protected by Whirling Death is reasonably powerful. All right. We'll see how aggressive this Mono Noxus deck is. I was going to say, if he plays a 1-drop, we're going to have to play our 1-drop just so we don't fall like super far behind. But if he's not going to add units, and then we get to push into turn 3 with the Whirling Death mana, I'll feel pretty okay about this. Radiant Guardian will buy us infinite time, should we need it. We'll add Riven. We want to get this Reforged token going. Another trick. That's good. You can get some bonus value out of the Whirling Death with the Radiant Guardian. If you really need the health, you can get the strike from the Whirling Death to get the heal out of it.
What do we got here?
I don't think we can add. We'll add the Blade Squire, but just post-combat. This should be like pretty obvious that we have a combat trick to deal with this Iron Ballista. But let's get into battle. Now there are some like downsides to this, right? He has 2 mana. If he has the Brothers Bond, he's going to take over this combat. Weapon Hilt takes over this combat. We could have used Whirling Death to prevent the damage here, which would have also prevented the Riven from dying to something like a Scorched Earth, but I'm not like super invested in Riven at this point. It's nice to get the fragments, but I don't think we have to put all of our hopes and dreams into her. Getting a boosted Radiant seems like it'd be pretty good though. He's definitely attacking here. If he has another trick, this is okay. All we really care about on this turn is our unit dying, so the Radiant comes down boosted. All right, looking pretty strong now. I worry a little bit about an incoming Scorched Earth, but we should be like pretty healthy at this point, and then we do still have Errol down here, so she can reasonably come down and start to apply her bonuses about. Come out here and strike stuff. We could have gone for the single combat onto Riven, but this kind of reeks of a combat trick. Gonna try and boom it. Then the Wrathful Rider. Interesting. Okay, well, he has to attack here. There's no way around that. What you bringing? The Overwhelm Fragment? Okay. The Quick Attack Fragment, you got it. So he has the sword in hand, but he can't play it. He doesn't have the mana for that. He is officially tapped out. Interesting. Wasn't exactly what I was expecting. And do we want to mess with Errol here? Might as well go ahead and try and take down the Rune Weaver. Let's put the Overwhelm fragment onto her. Since she'll strike down the Rune Weaver still, we can try and get a bigger strike with the 2 attack fragment next turn if we need to. This is a gigantic back-to-back turn. I think we're going to be pretty happy with the outcome. Trying to just come in, like he has, of course, the opportunity to play more cards here, but if we get the back-to-back value hook onto Riven, and then he just can't play any cards because Errol will kill them, that's a pretty good go at it. I mean, we could look to just try and take Riven down with Whirling Death, but I'm pretty okay with this. He's out here saying, oh shit, Bust about to boom me. Did he disconnect? He might have dropped the phone in the toilet. It happens. It happens. It's been a hot minute since we've run into the old toilet phone, but it happens on occasion. So how do we feel about this now? He has 2 mana. We could look to say just hook the Tusk Raider with the Glory Seeker, Whirling Death down the Riven, and that should just leave us with gigantic units on the board. It seems like it probably better than making a back-to-back play. He only has the 2 mana now. I don't really feel like they're going to, ooh. That's juicy. Yeah, play it. Changed your mind? That's a little unfortunate. If we do it like this, we're just not going to get the elephant, right? That's not where we want to be. Then we can... Ooh, this is nice, though. If we do it like this, we can still +2 Flagment to Errol and kill his unit. Okay, okay. I missed that little tidbit. That's kind of nice. Then whatever he uses to... hopefully we should be in a good space to just Whirling Death down whatever he puts the sword on. I think we're in a great space now. Chop, chop, Errol. You get him good. Well, Katarina's pretty strong. We can still attempt to Whirling Death her down, but... This is just some of the ultimate top end that you can have with her ultra powerful abilities. Well, she's not a great target for the sword, though. She returns to hand and doesn't have the sword anymore. Boom. Alright, so we can't lethal on our turn. A little unfortunate, but, I mean, this game is clearly in our hand. Let's see what kind of shenanigans we can fall to next turn, but I think we should be pretty okay here. All right. He has a completely empty board. We got all these big booms happening. Should just be a matter of time. This is the space where like you're playing Hearthstone and they just draw Brawl. Kill everything but one. All right. I think we're going to do it. think we would be pretty happy with this Egghead Researcher in this deck. I was just thinking, I liked it conceptually just in terms of, like, I don't want to play a bunch of expensive cards because we're planning on playing a bunch of Galios, but, being a 1/3 in a Formidable deck gives it, a lot of options to just grow into something big. If we get to attack with the Researcher and boost it with the Doran Architect, that's a pretty meaty attacker. But looking good. Stack up some more Galios. Glad to have his flip in the good combat trick. Mountain Drake is pretty formidable. Looks good. All right. Man, I'm excited for later in the day today. As y'all are watching this, it seems like there's supposed to be a patch that comes out today. As kind of the cadence was meant to be. The last patch came out 2 weeks ago. So there should be something today. Not expecting too much. This is typically where they just have like bug fixes, and then I think the big patch was supposed to come out at like the next one, the middle of March or at the end of March. But I have hopes that there's like some at least like minor tweaks to the likes of Conchologist and such to kind of tone down Vandal City a little bit as we have to progress on over the next month. All right. So what we were up against, I remember seeing Renekton, right? Nocturne, Renekton, Callista out of Shadow Isle Sharima. So he should be like pretty decent at having a bunch of like vulnerables. This is odd to me. Surprised he would just make this no value trade, but it did kind of like mess up our ideal here. This is one of these spots to where I haven't like really figured it out in Runeterra as to where if we should just like take that damage and then have the mana banked up for Ranger's Resolve the rest of the way, or if we just go ahead and take the high valued trade while we can. This seems like it's going fantastically for us. But I could definitely see an argument for just trying to build a big board up to Ranger's Resolve.
Break the ties that bind.
Block. He didn't bring it. He didn't bring that thunder onto Riven.
What conflict awaits?
Okay. And then this, it's not great overbanking, but this is a pretty decent space for an overbank. As we'll go into next turn, we can try and add the big dragon, and then still have all of these spells on backup. Sure. Where'd you go, dragon? Our dragon is a little bit bigger than his dragon. Yeah, come out here and do all the size comparisons and such. Looks like our dragon's a little bigger. Alright, let's just go ahead and chunk it in. My intent, I don't expect like big things out of this, but it's like I want to play single combat this turn and then bank up 3 mana. I think this is fine. Sure. Our 0/6 is not particularly good against fearsomes, though. Slightly awkward in those terms. Let's just go ahead and get this other dum-dum off the board. Wraithcaller, I remember that. Four health away from the flip. I mean, Galio he can't carry his sword. We played the quick attack one earlier. It's fairly tempting. Like, if we're gonna spend 3 mana on swords, and then follow up with Errol just to get the Galio flip, I mean, this is what it's about, right? You gotta you gotta you gotta get your Blade of Exile Galio.
I will live.
Just gonna come out here and completely ignore the Riven. Is that the way to go about this? I mean, probably not. Let's be real. It's not. This is so much funner way to go about it though. Gonna give him overwhelm. Let's do it. You get big Galio. You do your thing. Sometimes you just got to do it for the memes. Enjoy. Look at all these stats. It's like Pantheon flip time out here, except with Galio. Enjoy. Kind of lame. I'm glad we didn't. I'm glad we didn't go all in on Riven when he had the removal spell, and then we're not going to be able to flip Galio this turn. I think we still want to drop Errol because these units in hand are terrible blockers, but unfortunately not getting the flip. This is looking to start being a pretty good Mega Inferno Bomb as well. Get to take down 2 Mist Wraiths with it, potentially Boar, especially if he doesn't open here. Changed his mind. Maybe he will open, maybe he won't. Alright, well we have to block where we can. I don't want to just die to a atrocity. You're so small now, Galio. We can't get 9 health on board. A little unfortunate. We can probably just Inferno Bomb next turn.
Can a spirit fight to the death? Thinking I'll learn soon.
I mean, it's looking like a pretty good space for it, let's be real. And we have the stun and the quick attack challenger. It should be enough to end as long as we don't die to something weird, right? If he has some kind of atrocity play on us, then we can get boomed. But as the board stands, I think we're going to be okay. Lulz. See, that's what you want to see, right? You get your circle on the board, and then all your opponent's units are just dead. Oh, that's pretty nice. Boomed it. But yeah, I think I think I'm right on the kind of the cadence of the patches. The new set came out 2 weeks ago, and I mean, hang on, oh man, it's still trying to get us to trade away Dravens. I don't think we want any of this. The Captain Erika is kind of nice, I guess. The Duelist doesn't play that well in this deck. Most of our early plays either don't want to make challenges or already have Challenger. I guess we can pick up Erika. We don't have any like real removal spells at this point other than the Whirling Deaths, and so she'll count for that. But no, right, it's kind of tough in terms of, you know, the metagame is still kind of shaping up. It's only been 2 weeks. I really like the idea of a set comes out and then there's a balance patch in a month, right? And then the next set comes out, then there's a balance patch in a month. And because the problem I always ran into with Hearthstone was they were on a 3-month release cadence, and so you would play the first month, that was great. The second month would be kind of like boring, but you know, it was still fun because there were a lot of new cards. The third month would roll around and it would just be abysmal, but they might make some minor tweaks. And then the fourth month, you would just play the legend and quit. You know, oftentimes happen in the third month as well, where you just played a legend and quit. And so it's like it's not a very feels good moment when you just play a game for 2 weeks and then it's like, well, this is fucking boring. And so, but if Riot starts to set the expectation that they're going to make these balance patches every 2 weeks, that's what they were just getting away from. And so it's like 2 weeks comes and we'll fix some bugs and maybe something will happen to Path of Champions or, something like that. But I think I'm fairly happy with them just not having too many changes. Although, like, the next point I will make is what are we dealing with? Heimer, Vagar. It's only one copy of Vagar with the Bandle City, so it shouldn't be too much darkness stuff. I'm gonna get rid of the Whirling Death and look for something a little cheaper. But the thing I think is kind of interesting is how they're planning on switching up the sets from now on in terms of not following the big set, little set kind of thing. Because I think what they're probably finding is, the idea behind that is if you look at Magic cards, it's just like always hype season. Like it seems like as soon as a set comes out, like 2 weeks later, some new thing is coming out, and there's all kinds of hype for it on Reddit and everything. And I think that's what Riot was trying to go for. This is all completely fine, but I think that the hype that they were hoping to generate off of these last sets was extremely low, and it didn't quite pan out. It seems like the viewership spike that you usually see when a set is released is much bigger than what happened with this set, and I think they probably saw it with the last set as well. I usually see like the first couple of weeks of videos have a big spike in viewership, and then after that it really kind of just dies off for a while. And I think they're kind of finding that the big set releases bring a lot of that viewership, but then the smaller ones don't have enough hype behind them, and I think that's kind of why we're seeing the split to this this idea of 6 real sets as opposed to a bunch of smaller ones. This is interesting. He's just going big already. I mean, I'm fine to just let that happen and then build into a bigger Rangers Resolve turn, right? He's acting like he doesn't want to play cards because of our protege. And say if we get to Rangers Resolve this stuff, it's not that bad. Not actually going to play any units on this White Flame, but if we get to trade it for a Yordle Squire now, that's pretty decent. His board's been boomed. We've generated the time needed to get our expensiver units on board. This is okay. Okay, this seems fine. We can't just like pass, right? He has too many opportunities to get ahead, right? We can't be like, oh man, I hope he attacks and we trade the protege and drop the radiant. We're just gonna have to kind of wait a turn for that stuff. But
it must be done.
I research.
Lives on within the city walls.
Okay, here's where we can start to make the magic happening with the boosted toughness on the protege attacks. He's a pretty good friend of the Formidables, Protege isn't just he isn't just all arms. He's got some formidable plays in him as well. Let's see. I was looking to just add the Vanguard Redeemer after the fact here.
Our legacy lives on.
Just a small one like this. Are we ever okay with just trading out Riven? I mean, probably not. Alright, so he didn't kill anything, so we'll fall back to playing Thorn of the Rose.
Quest will be over quicker and you can fry a ferret.
I'm not a huge fan of this coming down, and I still would like to draw the card with the Redeemer. But I think I'm still going to go with Thorn of the Rose. We can like go into next turn, and maybe we get to like single combat and then follow up with the Radiant or something. We're getting like pretty far ahead on board here. Just go ahead and deal with it. Now we can sort of pseudo open with the Radiant. Good. His attacks are trash now. Get ourselves back up to 20, kill both of his units, have a pretty full board. That's the stuff. Then we got a 50-50 to hit the quick attack fragment for this Wrathful Rider. Nope, missed it, but that's okay.
To serve the greater good.
The Otterpuss coming down. Look out.
Doran's build the best.
Pretty good looking board. We're gonna lose our Wrathful Rider to the darkness. We can draw a card. Oh no, we can't draw a card. He boosted the Redeemer. The Donger makes his appearance. This is a 3 damage one, right? Yeah. And this is at least a moderately important Riven. Right, we're about to pick up the 3rd fragment if she doesn't die. And so we can potentially make the sword next turn. I don't think it's going to be a necessity, but it's a pretty good spot for us to be in. Is she where we would want to put the sword, though? Like, I want to say, like, quick attack the rider, plus 2 attack. I wanted to save for something else. Probably just put it on the architect. And put the sword on Riven. She gets the boost from the flip boost from the thing as well. This is just not a particularly strong board for the plus 2 attack. We knew that was going to be an awkward one as we were getting into this. This probably isn't the place for Overwhelm. I put the Overwhelm onto the 7 attacker, but I'm planning on just hooking Heimerdinger with it. And so, you know, he's the highest health unit that our opponent has at this point. Okay. It's like it's a tempting stun onto the Florbegon, but I think we're okay to just trade it with whatever he wants to trade it with. Otherwise, so it's looking like it would probably go in front of the Radiant, and then if that happens, he doesn't kill the Mountain Drake. That's all fine. Give it one of these. You're unfortunately weaker now, Thorn of the Rose, but you have a little bit more health for your future. Take him to 1. It says 0. Blocks across the board and it says 0. Boomed him. Good job, team.
I know what I must do.
Okay, 3rd Galio, Durand Architect. Looks good. I do like this Durand Architect Egghead. That's a pretty sweet combo. I thought we were going to pull it off that game, and it just didn't happen, but... Nonetheless, moving on. But yeah, I'm curious how like all the teams work at Riot. It's clearly not just like six dudes working for a company, right? They have the literally. Well, I wouldn't know the actual team size, but I assure you that there's more likely to be greater than 100 as opposed to less than. And I'm just kind of curious how the patches and the teams kind of go between, you know, the group working on getting the new cards out and the group working on Path of Champions and the group working on the balancing and the like, and how that kind of like translates into what turns up with each of the patches. And so it's why it's not like a lot of people on Reddit will get upset when like the patch comes out and it's like, oh man, this is a big update for Path of Champions, and I didn't get to see anything for you know, ranked. Well, it's not like, you know, the same dudes are completely working on each of the things, but I'm kind of curious how that internal cadence goes with these releases. Anywho, let's see how this board comes together. Dark Bulk Appellite, we don't have any way to stop it, but let's go ahead and drop the Glory Seeker. Can take him down next turn, but it's a pretty juicy target for the Darkness if we just drop the Protege onto our Glory Seeker. The Doran Protege. We got all the Proteges. The Dorans, the Lawrence. Okay, let's take down the Acolyte before it can augment. What up, Galio? So he can still play the Darkness. He's got the 3 mana built up. We don't currently have a good block for the Balladeers, so let's at least lead with the Durand. See where this gets us. I'd say it's going to be a Darkness onto the 5/1. So slightly awkward. It's just like his attacks were going to be too good if we just passed and tried to get the value out of the Vanguard Redeemer. Is this ever a back-to-back? These are not strong units. But we don't really have anything else to do. Would we trade a Protege for a Telescope just to draw a card? I mean, I guess that's fine. That's probably where we're at here. Like, we don't need to be in a big hurry, right? We have Galio in hand, and he's not presenting too much power on us, but we also just have to have, like, actual something to do. Poppy, you're scary. I'll give you that. We don't have any interactivity here. The elusive Poppy.
See the world from behind a basilisk.
Alright, my dude, bring all your thunder. So, I mean, we can back-to-back through this pretty reasonably. It's just like, do we really want to, like, back-to-back this turn and then have to back-to-back next turn onto Poppy? We probably just don't have a lot of choice in the matter. But if we're going to go into next turn, let's make sure we can play both the Tefarian and the second back-to-back. Or, can we Rangers resolve this? What if we just give up the Blade Squire, Rangers resolve the Redeemer, play the Tefarian, and then next turn we open with the back-to-back? Could be okay with that. It's not the best Rangers resolve, especially against this style of deck, but I think this is our chance to just really like wear down their board. Ooh, we have the +2 attack fragment, so we can... well, we're a little short. I can say we might be able to take down the Poppy with the tracker, but... we're not quite there. Let's mess some folks up. Interesting. Okay, so we'll go like this. If he has like a trick, you know, we're going to lose the unit either way, but if he doesn't have any cards, we'll put the less damage onto the protege. All right, getting a pretty full board. Feels good.
I just know the hero's around here somewhere.
All right. Soak up some more of that damage now. This this flip isn't going to happen. He's at 28, but he's going to kill something with the Tornado Warrior. We're going to have to just like make another back-to-back play into Poppy. It's unfortunate to have to do this stuff, but she's going to grow up to 5/5 again. Ooh, if all he gets to do is attack with Poppy and boost his units, that's incredible. But I have to imagine he's going to Tornado Warrior into our Vanguard Redeemer to keep our Galio from flipping. If Galio flips, this game's just done. Be one short of health, so we'll block the Gruff Grenadier. I mean, we can block it with the Grizzled Ranger, but it's not gonna be ideal. Double check. Let me double check the little boxes. We can still back to back after playing the Brutal Hunter. Should be good, though. We can actually just switch to the Mountain Drake plus the Fragment if we want. You know, if he didn't have the means to protect Poppy last turn, I'd say probably doesn't have it this turn either. But okay. And a quick quill. Alright, well, let's see where this brings us. There's a good chance he just takes the damage off of the scout attack, so that feels like a win. Now we get to quick attack into Poppy. What's the most health we can lose? If we take the 6 health hit, then we're going to be at 27 health, so we can attack with everything. So close to lethal. Man, should we have just... He can't do this. This is 14 if he blocks the Grizzled. Should we have just gone for the lethal instead? I mean, it is ultimately pretty scary when he has the fish, whatever it's called, in hand. Maybe we should have just hooked the Poppy and put the +2 attack on a different unit. Get to watch that Galio flip, though. Right, this is ultimately pretty scary with him having Rainbow Fish. I mean, I guess, yeah, there's 6 drops in the world that can just win the game here, most certainly. Oh boy. Oh boy, this is bad. I guess if it's just like a quick quill onto the thing, it's not as scary, but I don't like this whatsoever. Oh, Papercraft Dragon. Fuck. Nope. I mean, that's what we get. We could have played that differently. We knew going into this turn that he would get to replay get to replay the elusive attach. So we should have just. I think we should have just accepted that if Poppy was if we didn't win the game that turn, we were just going to lose the game anyways, and we should have just put the damage out and used the fragment on our smallest unit, so we'd punch in for much damage. So that was a bit of an oversight. We should have not guaranteed win that when he could have had another card, but we should have definitely tried to win the game that turn because we're just going to die with Poppy dying anywhere. If Poppy, I was trying to think of how to word that. If he gets to untap, it doesn't matter if the Poppy's there or not. He's just going to kill us with his elusives. But on to the next one. This is really disappointing. Having the Galio trade option for LeBlanc. It's just another bugged archetype, I'm pretty sure. But as far as these other ones go, I'm fine enough to keep Errol. The Great Horn Companion I don't really want unless we have Cataclysms or Rally kind of cards, and we just don't have that in our deck. So we'll skip over all these. All right, next battle. See if we can push Galio beyond the 3-win mark. I believe in you, my dude. I was thinking, it's like the only thing that strikes me as kind of unfortunate with Galio is his flip is good, right? It just doesn't seem like it should ever be that relevant. It's like if you're playing the 7-mana champion, you kind of want to have something a little bit meatier in terms of what his flip card does. Just because you're so late in the game. But there's certainly worse ones. Can't complain about it too much, I guess. Ew, all right, well, we'll hang on to the 3-drop. We always say the biggest disaster we can have is not having a play in the first 3 turns. And Thorn of the Rose, while not the best play, does give us that interactivity we have to have. And so happy enough to add her. We've picked up a reasonable collection of cards ever since. Looking pretty decent here. Riven's a big girl. She didn't need to see this open attack happen. Oh, maybe opponent didn't get the memo on you gotta have a play in your first 3 turns. Apparently they didn't get it.
Fire and fury burn in me.
Which fragment is this? Overwhelm? Okay. Let's just get 2 for 1 off this Shyvana here. Well, I mean, he may not even attack now. I'm curious if he doesn't attack, what that means in terms of us being able to kill her with a single combat. Alright, well, we picked up quick attack. I have to imagine they're just going to play like a Challenger Dragon here. Similar outcome. You could play a Cadrigen now. Something very big and dragon-esque is what is about to come down, and that is fine. We can battle with this with a Whirling Death or with the single combat. Got lots of tools here. We'll eventually get to make like a big tempo play with the Guile, but I would have preferred to have a little bit more mana before we try and pull that off. I'm fine to just slam the damage onto the Cadrigen. So, let's do the Whirling Death. And then if he wants to come in and like hook Riven, that's not awesome, but okay. You know, it's another one of these games to where we're like really close to just getting the sword, and opponents had a pretty awkward draw. We're probably okay with just letting that happen, but he's tapped out again. So with that in mind, I'm looking to add the Blade Squire. The Blade Squire is going to be our single combat target onto Cadrigen, and then we have the Sharpened Resolve to protect from any of these other attacks if he decides to come in. Going to ace the Sport. Your units are dead. I did the mathematics on those. Let's take this thing down. And then, yeah, I don't entirely hate the open. I just don't like it. If like we attack and he has a vengeance or something, then we don't get the kill when we still have this guile in our hand. And so I think I just want to add the mountain drake. We'll have the mana to do some of this other stuff, but then we'll just try and like guile down when he has to play like a 5-drop or a 6-drop. Might have just dropped his phone in the toilet as well. I didn't see if they full hand mulliganed or not, but it's kind of fitting that that's the game where it turns up to where we talk about the biggest disaster that you could run into here is not having a play in the first 3 turns, keeping the suboptimal unit to ensure it, and then our opponent not having the play on turn 3 and just getting annihilated. And so it's nice to see the strategy pan out. Now, granted, they could have full hand mulliganed and just missed. I wasn't paying that much attention, but that is very, very problematic. Yeah, pretty sure their phone went the way of the toilet, but let's we want to get this dragon down just in case. And I think this was fine, right? With how their games played out, they're probably just going to say, play a screeching dragon or something here, and then we get to guile it and punch in with everyone. Game blouses. And then he cooked us up some pancakes. Somebody will know what that's all about. Oh, right. So again, we're stuck with another Galio trade. I don't think we want to make any of these. Like again, our top end is good. We don't need to pick up Screeching Dragons. If we could trade like Wrathful Rider or Errol for Screeching Dragon, probably even Captain Erika, I would do it, but not for Ranger's Resolve. I want to hang on to our cheap trick here. And then we already have 3 Whirling Deaths, right? 3 Whirling Deaths. Don't need to pick up the 4th. So we'll skip over this one. Yeah, man, I'm excited for the patch. I hope it's a cool one. It's like once you've gotten like over the disappointment of like, you follow and play Expedition, and then you got used to there being patch notes for Expedition about the changes they were making to each of the archetypes and why, and the things like that, and then it just all disappeared and quit happening. It's like it was really tough to get hype for the patch notes because all you would ever, really notice and care about were the balance changes, which didn't, carry over as full and heavy as they did in Constructed, right? If you're looking at the Constructed numbers these days, like 25% of the games played are with Gnar. And so I think I also saw another article putting together stats to where it was like Vandal City was in like something like 60 or 70% of the factions played in each match as well. And so, it's very, very, impactful and constructed if those changes happen. But in Expedition, did we play against Gnar in this run? I mean, this guy doesn't have Gnar. We're playing against Swain Vi. Nobody does that. nobody plays Swain Vi in Constructed, and so the balance changes weren't as impactful as the archetype changes. And there were so many archetypes, a lot of that just didn't matter as much either. But all right, we're going to go ahead and just pass and not worry about this damage. We do have the big Doran architect play ready to come in and happen. This guy's just playing. He's not playing. He's playing a Fishbone style deck, but he doesn't have the actual champions. This is a tough one in the Protege. We don't have good interaction with it. Can't throw a 1/4 in front of it. Probably just have to eat the damage here. I think I'm fine with that. Let's just pass and see what they do. Maybe maybe they won't attack with it.
Nothing can stop me.
Now, do we still feel like okay-ish about trying to play the Architect? I don't really like it. I think I just want to attack with the Trifarian and then get the Grizzled Ranger down and then use the Grizzled Ranger as a blocker.
Noxus will pay for what they did to us.
Okay.
How bothersome.
This guy needs his Papercraft Dragon. That's the way to do it, right? You get your Ruined Reckoners on the board and then Papercraft Dragon everything down. Sure.
Every fighter falls.
All right. Did we get the clear? It would be nice if we got the clear. You know, I don't really want to take the damage here. I think we just need to single combat this. He's getting drained down to 3 cards. And so this isn't like as bad as it seems. We take 0 damage. We get 2 for 1 to a degree, but then we both just trade Whirling Deaths. Okay. Gonna bring the open. That might be a little greedy now that we have like the Architect plus Protege. Or we could have just had a Wrathful Rider down. It would have stopped this. Well, he probably would have. Yeah, I like that less and less. He probably would have just had to play the Swain into the unit to prevent the damage.
I can do this.
No mercy, no tears. I'm doing this
And Vi.
my way.
Wow. All right. Well, we're gonna get boomed this turn. Yeah, we messed that up. We most certainly should have played something, whether or not it was the unit plus the Architect plus Protege or the Wrathful Rider. That open was not good.
Poor fool.
Better run. My legacy.
Let's see if we completely messed it up or not. Perhaps it will be okay, but yeah, that's going to be tough to recover from. Another Swain. We're just. Oh, I was going to say we're dead to the open. He appears to have a card here, but if he just eats this damage. Okay, okay. The Reckless Trifarian only drops us to 1. He could have another unit here or something. Ooh. All right. Maybe it's still on. Ooh, the double blocker out of the House Spider? Okay. Ah, fuck. This game's just done, isn't it? Fuck. I have no idea what that Ranger's Resolve is going to do, but it seems like it should do something. Captain Erika still lives through this, so now she can block Swain. Okay, okay.
You are safe in our hands.
Is that even where we want to put a blocker? Right, we can just play the Empyrean. It's if we play Captain Erika. Yeah, she's not great here. I think we're gonna end up losing her anyways because this Trifarian can't block, but right, because we have to do a block like this. No, she does survive. She has tough. Oof. Why? Oh, we gotta do it like this. No, you still die this way as well.
I
There, she survives. Okay. That feels like a tasty pickup in the Whirling Death. Might have. Okay. Why? Why would he hit the Trifarian instead of the Eureka? That's very strange. Just for the stun? Could have gotten Vi back. He doesn't have Overwhelm though, right? We're gonna die. Oh, no we don't. Hang on. Oh, I forgot about the boost coming out of the protege. Alright. We can still block next turn. Alright, dealer. One time. We've dealt with this monstrosity of a board. We've played poorly but made it through it. Let's see if we can salvage. That was a big draw on back to back. All right, we've fallen to 2 health, but we have the superior board, and we have all of our champions. The opponent, I guess, technically has 1 champion left, but we've dealt with 2 Swains and a. There's the Galio. That's who we were looking for.
The very best. You are proof.
I don't. I mean, it seems like he has something, but I mean, this is lethal, right? I think we just have to go for it. No opens. I don't want to deal with him having something weird like a Darius stun or something. Let's just. Oh, nice. You don't mess with Demacia. That's right. So did we deserve it? Absolutely not. But did we get it at the end of the day? Absolutely, we did. Well done, team. So what are we doing out of these? How do we feel about picking up this Ranger's Resolve? It's the Trifarians, again, like not that great. We already have a mountain of 3 drops. I wanted to stop and see what our spells looked like. We have the 1 Ranger's Resolve, 3 single combats, 1 Sharpened Resolve, 3 Whirling Deaths. I think it's fine. Man, yeah, I think that game wouldn't have been like as ridiculously close if we didn't mess up that 1 turn. If we'd played, we were in that space to where we just like opened with a Trifarian and he had a Trifarian. We should have just played like the big challenger, or we should have more likely played the Doran Architect, whatever he's called, the support unit, and the protege. And then if we would have been able to either just chunk in 1,000,000 damage and still have our units, or we would have been able to take down his Swain, and it wouldn't have been nearly as scary of a board. I think we can hang on to the Ranger's Resolve, but I want to find a unit. We'll trade away both of the removal spells. Sandra Fiora Talia. Okay. Sure thing.
Heart and blade, both broken. Arda's gonna make a meal of them.
Varg is gonna make a meal out of him. So mean, Varg. We do anything with this Glory Seeker? I'm not like amped about trying to hook in either of these units. I mean, I think I'm kind of okay with just like playing Thorn of the Rose and passing.
Let's make this a night to remember.
This is kind of one of those spots where it would be kind of juicy to just play the Glory Seeker and see what they do, but I think that's fine. But I mean, if he like, Ugh, oh, those things are gross. Does it drop it down at the end of the turn? Advances it to 4, so there's just no way around it. We're gonna have to deal with that stupid thing. Okay. What? Why didn't you do anything? If the countdown of any of your... Oh, it goes from 4 to 0. I thought it took it from 8 to 4. We didn't pick up quick attack. A little unfortunate for the Wrathful Rider, but he's still out here ready to do his... Oh, buried in the ice. Are you serious? Okay. At least he's not, like, threatening a lethal on us. He's short of mana. He can't do the thing to where you play It That Stares to kill all of the landmarks. So I think we're okay. That one might have been kind of spewy. Take 10, sure. Galio's a little less appealing when we don't have any units on the board. So let's do this. Let's just play the Architect. Well, we're going to need to get the Glory Seeker down, right?
Sharpen the blades, secure the kill.
And then we'll see if we can't like follow up with a if we can't follow up with a Galio or something next turn. At least we have like tons of mana to spew into this Inquisitor. We really have to get it off the board. Oh wow, we overdrew. Alright, let's put the Overwhelm on the old Dragarino. Riven will flip. We'll give her the big sword. And we're still going to have mana for a back-to-back, and we'll still have mana for a Ranger's Resolve. Or if we just don't play any of that, we can follow up with Galio. I'm not amped about the Galio kind of line, but... You kidding me? Wow. So how much is this? 10, that's... Okay. Like, can we even get... We can get, like, 1 unit on the board? Is that enough? Not really. But we can't get 2 units down.
Must be some magic about.
Wow. I mean, what are you supposed to do? I guess we should have been ready for double buried in the ice. That's on me. Jesus. But we can still... I mean, maybe we should have played a different unit. I was going to say we could pick up like a... Well, Galio can still do stuff on these boards, right? But all right, that's a game. That was... I mean, you'll run into that against Freylord on occasion as to where some of the archetypes are just completely stacked full of epics. That's not usually one of them that you see there, though. Right, there's some of like the... maybe like one of the Ash archetypes is like LOL, I have like Howling Abyss and like 3 other epics in it, but... Too buried in the ice, that's... I don't know. If you were seeing that one and ready to play around it, then by all means you're better than me. All right. Letting us boom in this damage. I was gonna say this doesn't seem like the kind of space where I want to trade, and so if he's just like plays a unit, we would just hold it back. We do have the stat booster and the Architect if we want to try and get a good hook next turn with one of these units surviving. All right, make the Glory Seeker formidable. She loses 2 attack but survives. Shyvana, Kindred, Vigio. I wonder how those champions played out. If they started with Kindred and took Vigio and then built back into Shyvana. It's just odd if you start with Shyvana, you rarely want to pick up one of these other units. Interesting. It does not seem like a very positive addition. If he has a combat trick here, it's not horrible. He's gonna like single combat down our Glory Seeker or something. I don't quite understand that slay. Nothing's coming to mind as to why they'd put that on board. I mean, I guess you can try and single combat down the Architect, but then you still fall in the combat. And do nothing. Interesting. It's going to be incoming Shyvana. So how big's this dum-dum? It's a 5'4". Okay.
Heart and blade, both broken.
We'll take this hit. You do have to worry like a little bit about there being a atrocity to face that lives in the Vigio archetype, but we should be like ready to just dominate this board this turn. Like at worst, we're trading Glory Seeker for the Dragon. We also have the 6 health hook coming out of the Protege. We should hopefully just be able to ace his board this turn.
The cost of war. You are mine.
We got the Whirling Death lined up for this as well. Like whatever card he was wanting to play last turn, he's playing this turn. But if it's something like single combat, we're going to ace it with the Whirling Death. Oh no.
No more hesitation.
No, you bring in too much heat, Bust. Too much heat. Okay. Looks pretty good. The Radiant, I like it. Nice. Okay, does that get us into the final battle? I lost track of the games. I feel like we're about to make our way into the final battle. Yep. So let's see here. We have enough Whirling Deaths. I don't want Sharpened Resolves. The Concerted Strike is a place where I think we need to be, though. Sucks to trade out Errol, but we don't have any real removal other than Captain Erika. I mean, we do have like a ton. I think if we're going to pick this up, we do have to look to either trade out like single combats or Whirling Deaths if we're given the option. But I think this is okay. Get us a real removal. I do want to trade out single combat, just not for back-to-back. It's too expensive, and we already have 2. So we can skip over all these. I don't want Weapon Hilt or Legion Marauder. Wrathful Rider for Riposte, I don't really want. I'm kind of just wanting to trade out like spells for units at this point. But I don't want the Tusk Raider. Our top end is already good enough. Riven for Draven, no thank you. Otherwise, don't need the Calling Strike. It's tempting to get rid of this Mountain Drake. We don't have like tons of combos with it. Like we don't have ways to give it Challenger, which turns it into the stronger unit. And I do like this, idea of protege with these architects. Let's make this trade. Then our last one, of course, let's trade out Galio. Ooh, okay, these are all skips. It's unfortunate. I mean, Expedition kind of is what it is at this point, but like how many times did that offer us up Galio trades? I think it tried to get us to trade him away like 4 or 5 or 6 times. It's just very easy for that to, if you have, what is it, like a total of 13 trade picks across the expedition, and then that would make it 39 total like choices that you can make, and then so you're basically a lot of the times cutting it down from like 39 choices down to like 33 choices or so. So you're losing a pretty big a chunk of the choices you get to make. Now, granted, I do still stand by. I think that's kind of how it should be. That it should be offering you up champion trades more frequently, because that's what so many decks are just completely built around, and that does kind of let you fix some bad starts to where you start with a pairing of champions that just don't work out and you get to trade one of them away. But I think it's a bug, and it's not. It doesn't work like that for every champion, right? We see very frequently with Galio and Scion, not so much with the older champions. Alright, dude's got a Broadwing. What was he playing? Fiora Poppy? The classic Mentor package? I wonder if Fiora is still in Mentors and they've just messed it up. Probably not. It's probably like a Shield Wall Fiora, but that would be interesting. So what happens if we play the Protege, give the Researcher tough? And it doesn't feel that great, but I think it's okay. I mean, our other option is to just make like this 4/3 Viper Worm, which that does not feel good.
You can do this. You're a Doran.
Very awkward hand. Oh, he does go for the Researcher. Interesting.
Hello? I tried.
All right, still got our bro on board. He's ready for action with this Architect. Oh, I think that's where we have to be. I don't really like it.
Our family's work lives on within the city walls.
He passes, we're just 100% passing. This hand is very awkward, especially in the face of this Broadwing. We aren't well tooled to deal with it. Thinking hard on this one. Said, yo ma, pull it up on the big screen. We're playing against Bust today. With this, we need to deal with the first blade. I'm going to make an attack like this. We will lose the Architect to the Broadwing, but we do get to single combat down the first blade. And then if he blocks with a Sparring Student, we also survive that one. This is a scary unit to have added to the board in the first blade.
Oh, you're in for it.
Oh, we should have dealt that damage first. That was stupid. We should have dealt the 3 damage and then done it after combat. We're gonna miss out on a point of damage to face. I just did that so you all could learn. Learning moment from Bust. You're welcome. I gotta bring that out for the masses every once in a while. Glad to bring you an assist. This is all kind of unfortunate. It's like, I think we just have to let this attack happen, and then we can try and follow up with the Redeemers and such.
Sweep the leg. Today we turn the tide of war.
Right? Radiant is a good comeback card. Galio.
We will not hesitate.
I think he's just gonna take this. This is kind of a disaster of a turn. Ooh, really? Takes it to 2. Okay, well, let's let that happen. We'll drop the radiant, and then something just has to go right with her.
By my honor, you must die.
Oh God.
What's he bringing in? The riposte.
And strike.
Uh-oh. Says, I'm doing this a different way. So, I don't think we care too much about the Fiora, right? Do we really want to come in and try and take her down? That doesn't seem like super positive. I'm looking more at just Whirling Deathing down this tasty Fey Folk. Or, I mean, we could back-to-back, right? It's a very expensive back-to-back, but it does keep our Radiant on the board. Maybe that's where we live. We don't gain any health off of this play, though. We do have to kind of keep that in mind. It's just that we have like so much potential on future turns between the Whirling Death and the Concerted Strike to just gain a million health off of this thing. This sucks real bad and has a lot of potential to go wrong, but I think that's where we want to be. Okay. This also lets us gain about a million health. Twin Discipline, sure. But hopefully his board sucks enough from this point to where it's not as big of a deal. We're up to 15. That's a much healthier stat point to be at than 4, whatever else we were at that game. Did we just drop Galio now? This board's pretty weak. Kind of like it. Just deal with these stats for a while.
It'll be over quicker than you can fry a ferret.
Focus. Focus.
About to do something lame. I can already tell you that. Looks like he was really thinking about dropping a riposte there. Okay, so I mean, if everything goes how we want this turn, we would get to Grizzled Ranger and then hit it with the Viper Worm. Looks like that's not going to be the case. We can Concerted Strike down Fiora, though.
Try me.
Getting in for 5. Not that bad. We could just let the Fiora hook happen. He was playing 2 champions, right? He might be some degree of a Fiora OTK deck here. But yeah, I think I enjoyed this. And then the awkward thing with his hook on with the Broadwing, if he's trying to do weird shit to take down our Galio, this isn't a very good riposte target. And the Broadwing boosting its attack doesn't do a ton. Ooh, that is not good. That's not going to do what you want, my dude. I guess it protects his Broadwing, but the Fiora has been aced. Okay. Alright, so we're good to try and kill off our other Galio to play the new one. We'll save that for next turn. We should just be able to... he's most assuredly just going to get hooked by the Petricite Broadwing. And so I think we can just let this Galio go and then follow up with another one. It's all a part of the plan, right? He's gonna Broadwing down onto the Galio. Nothing we can do about this, right? Well, we could Shield of Doran through it, but that doesn't seem very good. I'm not super into killing this Yordle Smith. I'm super into a lot of things. That is not one of them. Alright, Galio, time to die. You fought valiantly, but it was all a part of the plan. Get him. Get him. Cool. They're going to be so close to leveling him up, right? Cupcake that one up a little bit. Alright, let's get into battle now. Things look a lot better with this board. Looks like we're going to be getting a rally before you know it. Kind of tempted to just go ahead and play a Ranger's Resolve here. It's like, I don't think we're going to have a relevant one at any point in the future. This helps us keep our Galio nice and strong. It's like I want to potentially get that off the board, but let's not. Let's just let this one happen. The big thing that we have to consider with this board is I want to have one of these single combats for his turn so that we can single combat, deal a damage to something, get a rally, and pop with Galio. And we can't do that if we spend a single combat. Getting in for 8 here. Do we want to try and take down this Bright Steel? We can. I think I like this one. Let's Fury into the Bright Steel. We'll see if he has another unit, right? We get to kill this dum-dum. We Fury up another point of attack. Poppy. So this is 7, 10, 16. We aren't lethal. But, I mean, this Poppy attack is by no means scary. Absolutely. So we get in for 13. Go into the next turn. We're ready with our single combat rally. I think this looks pretty good.
What do you see up there, Pip?
For the millionth time, shouting ruins the recon!
We can just let that attack, right? I mean, the Poppy's not super relevant though. She doesn't actually do anything on this board. Okay, his unit dies, 2 health, Galio. We have a rally token. I think we're gonna get it, fam. Bringing them emotes. Ari time. Oof. So yeah, regardless of how this goes, we have the Thorn of the Rose. We can stun something if we want. We have the hook with the Protege, then we'll just hit with 1,000,000 with our other units. So, it should be good. Here it comes. Galio collecting that 7-win expedition token. Nice. GG. So yeah, not a bad little deck. Some of the ideas that I was hoping to have come together did. Some of them didn't, but we'll talk about this one a little bit more. And so, yeah, like I kind of liked, you know, some of the ideas that we had pieced together there, and that there are, you know, decent toughness boosting cards. The way that we typically look at these decks when we add in Riven, right, is that we're going to look for the quick attack challenges. That's the easiest and strongest way to take advantage of the Reforge mechanic. Is you give, you know, your Challenger Bird +2 attack, you give your 5/1 Challenger quick attack, you need to end the game, so you give your 7/3 Challenger Overwhelm, and then, you know, Riven is just a well-statted unit that doesn't take much to build around, right? We're happy to play Riven, we're happy to play Blade Squire, we're happy to play Runeforger. It's a very easy mechanic to just put in your deck. Because it's just so good on its own. But if you're able to build upon it, that's how you push, you know, your 4-win deck up to a 7-win deck. Is you know, recognizing that, okay, I might be able to get about 2 blade fragments a game. How can we, you know, tie that into what we're already trying to do? And so that was like one piece of the equation, right? We use the quick attack challengers when we're playing Riven. The other side of the equation was, well, we're going to have all of these toughness boosting cards. How are we going to take advantage of that? And the idea with the toughness boosting was that we're just going to be able to come out here and survive challenges better. And so I think the kind of key things to focus on as we try to build this in the future, you want the Petricite Broadwing. That's a tough one to actually find, though. It was a rare. We saw 0. Laurent Protege is who I think is going to be the big one to find. It's the 2/4 Challenger for 3. It's a common. We ended up with 2 of them. And that plays fantastically with passing out in Dur. I don't even know if that's what Formidable. Doran the Siege Tower, whatever we're calling it these days. That you know, plays fantastically with those. It's just all around a great unit. And I think that's how you're really going to look to these Galio decks to be, is you want all the toughness boosting cards because they're all fantastic. Then you want Challenger Birds, you want Petricite Broadwings, and you want Laurent Proteges. And then I think since we're in Expedition, the next big thing you'll look for after that is the 1/3 that generates the dragons. I think that will be kind of our premier top end. It's extremely relevant in having 3 toughness. It's extremely relevant if you have the unit that gives +2 attack or +2 health and Formidable. Just an all-around pretty fantastic bro for this style of deck. And so, yeah, that all turned out nice and well. I liked the idea of the 1/3 Dragon Generator and Galio just being our top end, so we didn't have to go out of our way to pick up a bunch of expensive things. That's the way we also usually draft Malphite, right? Malphite's very similar to Galio, but we don't put any expensive shit in our Malphite decks. We just draft Malphite, we'll draft some Invokes, and then just assume that's enough for the top end. Malphite is just way better at ending a game. since his rock throw or whatever is such a game ender, whereas Galio not so much. But I think that was a pretty reasonable strategy and a reasonable way to go about these. The thing I was kind of interested in is I know I've run against quite a few like dragons based decks that just seem to have like tons and tons and tons of Galio based cards, like just with a lot of the toughness boosting stuff. And now that I've drafted this and seen what's happened, I'm pretty confident that they just traded their Galios away. And so that will be like something that to kind of keep in mind. It's like, how are you supposed to play around it? I don't fucking know. But the kind of the concept that we see with Scion a lot is we'll just trade him away, right? We'll try to play the discard deck, and then we'll try to pick up Dravens, and then we'll just get rid of Scion, because we know every champion opportunity it's going to give us the chance to trade him away. It's especially relevant if you're kind of drafting Noxus as the support, and you don't really want you don't want Scion as your expensive bro anyways. And so that is, I think, one of the big core and key takeaways out of this, regardless of our bad gameplay and medium drafting, is Galio is highly tradable. And so if you're up playing against Demacia and they drop something like on turn 2, like that dude that the 2/2 for 2 that whenever you play a unit it gives everything a point of toughness, or if you see a Petrocyte Broadwing, there's a very good chance that they were a base Galio draft and then they traded him away. And so definitely have to watch out for that in the future and keep that in mind as we come out and draft our, what was this, 83? Come out for our 17 more drafts. But nonetheless, that's going to do it. Let's click on these rewards, see what we got for today. We already completed all the epics. Think so. All right. Got other ones down here. This is what we need the new cards to come out for. We're capped out on the region rewards. I think we just had to craft some of this, right? We just had to craft the Architect. Should have opened these rewards up before we started. Could have saved that wild card. And I don't think I've crafted Galio yet. Apparently I have. Pick up those Fiora shards. Excellent. What else do we got? Event pass? Cool. I did the Vagar fight. I thought about making the video for it. I just didn't do it. I have a tough time trying to get into the Path of Champions. I'm trying, but it's kind of tough for me to do. And what do we get? Arcade Anivia. It's nothing. That's probably an emote. The Misfortune icon. Final boss Vagar. Whatever that is. Some wild cards and a Dark Storm. I should have just clicked on them. I don't know what do we get? I don't know what this stuff even is. Wild cards. Dark Storm. Can't click on it anymore. Well, that was uneventful. We got more rewards? What do we got here? All right, back to the Udyr side. Okay. I've been pleased with that guy that generates the stance swaps. He just feels way better than Udyr himself, and that was appropriate, right? Showing off the Draculorn Inquisitor against the guy that had Draculorn Inquisitor double buried in the ice. Thanks for bringing that memory back, Riot. All right, well, that is going to do it for us today. I hope everyone enjoyed the trial. You find your next draft to be a little bit more formidable. Maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.